If you plan on leaving the country of Canada right now, you don't have to pay anything. Although you do have to pay a significant exit tax. If you have a lot of assets, you don't have to pay any upfront fees. But this could potentially change. So recently, someone by the name of TD Leaker posted an unofficial statement. This is not confirmed by the government of Canada. This is 100% speculation. However, they said that Canada proposes a $25,000 departure penalty and increased taxes to curb immigration crisis. In a bid to address a growing immigration crisis, the Canadian government under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is reportedly discussing significant measures to deter Canadians from leaving the country. Now, with that being said, none of this is official, but of course, I am almost 100% sure that these things are being discussed. They're looking at all the options to curb immigration. They don't want people to leave Canada when they do come in. Or if they already are here, they don't want them to leave. For example, let's say you have a business that is doing millions in revenue each year. You're paying a significant amount of that money away to the government in taxes. Why would the government want you to leave? So a small $25,000 little fee isn't that much, really. And this actually could be even more money depending on how strict and how tight they want to be. And to go a step further, if I was in their position, I wouldn't just think about adding a $25,000 penalty to people who want to leave. I would increase the current exit taxation that we have right now, and that would make it terrible for people wanting to leave Canada. Imagine you spend 20 years here doing business and then you want to leave. Well, now all of this money that you made is going to be taxed so much and so high that you just think, you know what, I just won't leave. And that's exactly what might happen. And that's why it's one of the last chances to get out now, because Canadian immigration is not going as expected. More and more Canadians are choosing to leave Canada. You can see in this chart right here that it's kind of like a leaky bucket, and a lot of immigrants are choosing Canada as basically a place to start their onward migration process. They come here, they leave. And as for Canadians, well, they are seeing that, you know what, it might not be a good idea to do business in Canada anymore. The taxes are too high, and then they leave. For example, me myself, I quickly realized that the system in Canada was not built for entrepreneurs. It's built to keep you, I guess, restricted and not be successful. Of course, you can be successful in Canada. I'm not going to say you can't, but the taxation system kind of says otherwise. They don't want you to do well. If you make more money, you're going to get taxed more. And if you look anywhere over the news, you'll see a lot of articles that have headlines like this: Canada needs a wealth tax. And if you do want to leave Canada to pay less taxes, well, right now is actually not a bad time, because all of these things haven't come into play, but they're still increasing things. We've just seen the capital gains inclusion rate get increased from 50% to 66%. So that's one thing. What's next? Inheritance tax? In the UK, there is an inheritance tax of 40%. You can see it right here. 40% inheritance tax. While in Canada, there isn't an inheritance tax. But why wouldn't they follow suit? Why wouldn't they increase corporate tax rates? Why wouldn't they? And the answer is, I don't know. But if you don't know, well, that means that it might actually get increased. Because honestly, it's already bad enough. What is increasing it by another 5-10%, right? It's already bad enough. And unfortunately, for a lot of people who stay in these countries, it's going to get worse. 9,500 millionaires left the UK in 2023. And this number is only going to increase. Canada is losing a lot of millionaires, but we're also gaining a lot of people, because of course we are taking in an incredible amount of immigrants, which has only decreased the quality of life for every single Canadian, also decreasing the GDP per capita for every single Canadian, and it's just making life in Canada less affordable. Goods and services have increased in prices, and security and safety in Canada has gone down. And if you want to leave Canada or you want to leave the UK, you don't have to give up your citizenship. That's a huge misconception that a lot of people think. You do not. The only thing you have to do is become a non-resident. This means that you are not a resident of Canada or the UK for tax purposes, and of course for residency purposes. What happens? You don't get access to the free healthcare, which is terrible in Canada, and that's honestly really it. Of course, you can't also live in Canada for a significant amount of time throughout the years, and you can't have significant ties to Canada. You can't have a primary residence, that is not allowed, and you also cannot have any dependents in Canada or a common law or spouse in Canada. And the reason why I think it's a fantastic time to leave now is because, again, you can. If you look at a country like the United States, they have taxes based on citizenship, not your residency, but citizenship. So holding this passport or holding this passport will make you a taxable resident in that country. Is that something these countries could implement? 100%. It is something they could implement. Of course, it's not going to be easy for them to do it because a lot of people will simply give up their citizenship if they can. But it is something that is being considered and people are talking about. You'll see this being discussed, and it's been discussed for many, many years. This article is from 2020. It's time for Canada to adopt citizenship-based taxation. Now, this would mean that no matter where you live around the world, you're going to have to pay taxes because you have the Canadian passport. Now, I can agree that it should be implemented in some cases. For people who come to Canada simply to get a passport and then leave, I think that it should be applicable to them. But for Canadians who grew up here, who are actually Canadian and didn't acquire this passport at a later stage in their life and actually want to be Canadian, well, of course, I don't think this should be applicable. Who knows how they're going to implement this if they do? I hope they don't, but it is something that is being discussed. Now, if you're planning to move away from Canada and you want to reduce your taxes legally, where should you go? Well, the number one option for millionaires across the globe is Dubai specifically. The United Arab Emirates is a fantastic country to live in where there is 0% income tax and in most cases, 0% corporate tax. The only ones who have to pay a corporate tax are the ones who have a revenue in their company that exceeds $816,000 US dollars, so around $1 million Canadian. Now, of course, taxes is one of the reasons why they love Dubai so much, but the second reason is because it's so easy to get residency in Dubai. Now, I say so easy. With us, if we help you, it's extremely easy. Within 30 days, you could literally get started and finish your entire process, which means you have your company set up, your residency, your bank accounts, your Emirates ID, everything you need to actually work and live from Dubai can be achieved in 30 days or less. And that's not a marketing scheme. If you want to learn exactly how it's done, you can book a call down below or watch this exact video right here that goes over everything in full detail.